Hello, today is December 20th, and today we are reading our first reading for the first Sunday after Christmas. Um, we are still in the week of Advent, yes, but as we look forward to our Christmas Eve service on Friday, Christmas Day being on Saturday, Sunday is our first Sunday after Christmas. So if you can join us for our Christmas Eve service at 6 p.m., please feel free to. And if you can't, know that our live stream will be up for that evening service at 6 p.m. and then that worship can be viewed later on after the fact. So please, if you can join us either in person or online, please do so. But we are jumping ahead to our first Sunday after Christmas, this short season of only 2 Sundays. And our first reading is for 1 Samuel chapter 2, verses 18 through 20 and verses 26. Samuel was ministering before the Lord, a boy wearing a linen ephod. His mother used to make for him a little robe and take it to him each year when she went up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. Then Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife and say, "May the Lord repay you with children by this woman for the gift that she made to the Lord." And then they would return to their home. Now the boy Samuel continued to grow both in stature and in favor with the Lord and with the people. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So, this is a story that is this selection from 1 Samuel is very short. It's kind of cuts out a little more, some of the details in the story, but it is selected because there are many parallels between our first reading, this beginning of Samuel's ministry as a boy, and the gospel, which is the first and only picture we get of Jesus, not as a baby or as a man beginning his ministry, but Jesus as a boy. So these two stories get knit together in our lectionary because there are parallels between them. Now, if you're not familiar with the story of Samuel, Samuel is a story that has many parallels with other parts of Scripture. Samuel is the son of Hannah, and Hannah, at the beginning of the book of 1 Samuel, is unable to have any children. She has prayed desperately to God, and in the course of that prayer, she so wants a son, any child, that she says, "I will pledge them to the temple for your service." And so God blesses her with a son, and Hannah keeps her promise. And so she gives really Samuel to the temple at Shiloh, to become a priest in his own right. This was a serious commitment, and she and her husband Elkanah visit him every year. It says she makes him a little robe and takes it to him when they make sacrifice every year. So they're reunited year to year as Samuel grows up under the care of Eli. And we get from the text, Eli is a good priest. He takes good care of Samuel. He's responsible in his duties as a priest for the people. But Eli is got 2 sons. And as the story goes that surrounds the text that we read, his sons Phinehas and Hophni are bad priests. They steal from the offering. They abuse the people. They abuse their trust. They do not take care of their responsibilities. They are thoroughly terrible priests, and they don't deserve to lead the temple at Shiloh. And Eli knows this, and he hears from God the same thing, that God says, "Your sons will never take over your responsibilities. The boy Samuel will. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who shall do according to what is in my heart and in my mind." So that is God speaking to Eli about who Samuel will be. So what is this story about? I would love to do a sermon on Samuel. Actually, I would love to do a Bible study on Samuel, an extended one that really delves into the life of Samuel and how his ministry goes from this period. Samuel is the prophet, is the judge whose life connects the period of the tribal judges and the kings of Saul and David and Solomon after him. So Samuel is this connective tissue, is this prophet. So I'd love to do a Bible study, but this is not about Samuel in his adult career, but Samuel as a boy. So what is this story about? Well, it's not about lineage. Clearly, this is not a story about the fact that certain families are more fit for serving God than other families. Eli's sons show that not to be true. Is it simply a story about, the value of the youth? Those kids, they're going to be the future. They're going to take care of things. Yes, but also no. I don't think this story is entirely about children and, oh man, aren't children great? I think that would be the same if we were talking about the gospel for this week of Jesus as a 12-year-old in the temple. They aren't astonished at him simply because he's 12. Samuel is not simply favored because he's young, but because of where his heart and his mind are at. And I think that's maybe the key to understanding these texts, that just like we ought not to discriminate or to look down upon anyone for their character, I would say their gender or their race or their material possessions, or fill in those blanks. Age here is, we're being told that age is not a factor, a disqualifying factor. That in fact, what is important is what is in one's heart. And when Samuel, when he is an older person and he meets the boy David, he's not sure, but God assures him, I see into his heart, and I see he is the one I choose. And the same thing for Jesus. Jesus is, in our gospel, a boy, but what he is saying is in line with what God's intent is. And so, as we read this is a story that reminds us that God is not interested in the outside. God is not interested in the strongest. God is not interested in the best looking. God is not interested in the one with the most experience. God is interested in the one that has a heart for ministry. And God is interested in, at a fundamental level, God is interested in everyone. But what interests God is not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside. That our calling is based, our vocation is based on where our hearts are at, and not where we are in the race of life. So that is what I want. If I were preaching on this text, which I will not be, if I were preaching on it, that's where we would focus on. Where's God's focus on? What is God looking for in a servant? What is God looking for from you as a servant, as someone who is called to your own service, whether you are in ministry or not, whatever you are doing? What is God calling you to? And what is God finding in your heart? All right, that's where we're going to end. I hope you have a great week. I will see you tomorrow. All right, bye-bye.